Let's start with SOAP-AI free version. First we can download and install the software. To install the SOAP-AI free version, we can navigate to path. We can navigate to this path, that is soapai.org downloads latest release.html. Once we navigate to this path, we can see all the downloaders based on the operating system. So we can download for Linux, Windows, Mac OS and all operating systems. We need to click on the download based on our OS. So once we click on, for example, once we click on Windows download button, it will download the SOAP-AI free version. Present latest version is 5.4.0. and once we click on download, once downloaded the software, we need to click on double click on that software, because already I have installed in my machine, so I cannot show it. But once you click on the download, it will be downloaded, and once you click on that software, it will open in one browser. There will be .exe file will be there. Once you can double click on that file, otherwise you can right click and you can do execute file as administrator. So once you click on administrator, or once you click on double click, by default SOAP-AI free version will be installed in your system, and you can see the icon like this, SOAP-AI with the version, because present version is 5.4.0. I have 5.2 point someone, so this is the older one, but we can see the latest version, which is 5.4.0. once SOAP-AI free version is installed successfully, we can double click on this SOAP-AI 5.2.1. we can see the SOAP-AI user interface page like this. Here we can understand the SOAP-AI user interface. So here you can see file, project, suite, cache, step, tools, desktop and help. All these things, whatever we are able to see here, this one we will call it as a menu bar. In a menu bar we can see all these properties, and here we can see empty, SOAP, REST, import, save all, forum, trial, preferences for proxy. All these we will call it as quick access toolbar. The difference is, if I want to create a new project, I have to click on file, I have to click on new SOAP project. Otherwise I have to click on file, I have to click on new REST project. If you want to import the project, I have to click on import project. Instead of that, directly we have the shortcuts on here, quick access toolbar. If you click on SOAP, by default it is open, new SOAP project pop up. If I click on REST, by default it open, new REST project pop up. No need to go to the file toolbar, file menu bar we can say. So after that, this entire area you can see project 1, actually that is the workspace. I will come to that. This area, entire this area, we will call it as project navigation area. So here you can see navigator. If you click on this, it will go on, and if you click on this, it will be back. So this entire area we will call it as project navigation area, and the other one is workspace properties. This entire thing we will call it as workspace properties. This is workspace properties. Name, description, these all are by default system generated properties. File, project rows, these all properties we will call it as workspace properties. And in coming slides we can see there are different types of properties, like project properties, test suite properties, test case properties. Many properties will be available based on the test steps. So present we can see, by default we can see workspace properties. And another important one is logs. If I run one request in SOAP-AI tool and I will receive the response from the server, but where you can see all these logs. there is important one is at bottom of this page. So API log, HTTP log, JT log, error log, WSRM log, memory log. These are different types of logs available in SOAPI tool. This is very important because as we are new learners to SOAPI tool, we need to know the how SOAPI user interface looks like. Here we can see 5 main steps. That is, first one menu bar, and second one, I'm repeating again, as I said we are new learners. First one is menu bar, second one is quick access toolbar, third one is project navigation area, fourth one is workspace properties, and fifth one is log area. Now let me explain the project structure in SOAPI. Here I have written some information. The first one is we have to create the workspace. First one is workspace. It is very important because in workspace there can be several projects associated with this, and users can create more than one workspace. And once we create the workspace, in that we can create the project. After under project we can create test suite. Under test case we can create multiple test cases. Under multiple test case, for each test case we can create multiple test steps based on our requirements. Maybe one test case can have only one step, but one test case can have 10 test steps. So based on the requirement, each test case can have many test steps. These 5 are very important to us because this one is main project structure in SOAPI. First we can let's start with creative workspace. Go to file menu, create, we can see new workspace. Here creates a new workspace. Click on this. We can give the name of the workspace. For example, I can give, we can start with currency converter project because this is mainly we can start easy WSDL file. Easily we can understand because it does not have many operations. It has only 1 or 2 operations, so it will be helpful for us as new learners. So I can give this workspace is for only currency converter. We have to click on OK because our workspace has to be saved in somewhere in our system, right? So here we can choose the folder where it's creating the new. I'm navigating to one of my drive here, study. In that I'm creating new folder, SOAPI hands-on. SOAPI hands-on. Already one folder is okay. SOAPI hands-on. In that I'm saving the same name. Save. Here you can see the workspace is created, that is currency converter. As I said, in workspace what we can create? Project. Here we can create the project. For that one we can right click on currency converter. In this workspace we can create SOAP project or we can create REST project. So first we are starting with the currency converter. Before that I will open currency converter. This is the currency converter WSDL link. So this is the free WSDL. We can get it from Google, or we can search with currency converter WSDL. We can get this link. So this is the WSDL link. So to create SOAP project we should have WSDL link, WSDL URL. Otherwise developer should provide the developer only will provide this visitor link, otherwise they can provide the directly visitor file. They will not provide the visitor URL like this. They can provide until by default visitor file. Using visitor file also we can create the project. So to create a project, currency converter, right click, new SOAP project. In that we can give the project name. For example, project name again I will write, in shortcut I will give CC, currency converter. There are two ways to import the project. First one is, here you can see, while clicking I will cancel this and again I will repeat. Once it right click on currency converter, here you can see new SOAP project. Once you click on new SOAP project, there will be a pop-up will be display like this. Here you can see no new SOAP project. Here you can read new SOAP project creates a WSDL or SOAP based project in this workspace. Because this is a SOAP project, so must and should developer has to provide the WSDL to us, otherwise they can provide the WSDL URL. So I am giving the project name as shortcut currency converter. Here initial WSDL. Here we have to provide the WSDL link URL. This is the URL. If you click on this WSDL, if I have provided URL here, and here you can see create test requests and create requests, create test shoot, relative paths. By default I selected only create request because create a sample request for all the operations. That means what are operations are available in currency converter WSDL, all those by default will be created after we click on OK button. If I click on test suite, then it will create the test suite as well. Create test suite creates a test suite for the imported WSDL. This is related paths, but by default we can see this. If I click on OK button, it will be loading and it's giving the what are the operations available. As I said, in currency converter WSDL URL there will be two operations available. We will call it as a operations. One is converter SOAP and another one is converter SOAP 2. So already I looked into this currency converter, so I can say that both operations will be looks like same only, but the difference is only the version. Here you can see the normal one, here you can see the 1.2. So that is the difference. So in currency converter this is the workspace. Under workspace we have created the project. This one is called it as project. Based on we are following the architecture, we completed the what is workspace. After that we have completed what is project. After that we are going to create test suite. Okay, test suite is nothing but collection of test cases. Why test suite is important is it is collection of test cases, because in real time if you have created 10 test cases or if you have created 20 test cases, when it comes to the web service testing, if you want to run 20 test cases at once, what we can do, we can create one test suite. In that we can create 20 test cases, and we created test suite. In that we have created 20 test cases. Using test suite itself, we can run a button and all 20 test cases run one by one. So that is the use of test suite. We can see it in real time. So in currency converter we can see these are two operations. If you click on this, these all are different requests we can see. If you click on the SOAP request, you can see, because we created the SOAP project, so you can see all these are SOAP requests. These all are different requests are available. We can go into the depth, but starting we can see these all are in converter SOAP. This is an operation. In this operation we can see all these all are methods. So these two are operations. We can see here also same, convert date table column. We have to test each and everything based on our requirements. We can maximize here. So here we have completed workspace and test project. Now I'm going to create test suite. To create test suite, we have to right click on project and we have to see where is test suite. Here you can see new test suite. This means once we click on this test suite pop-up will display. Here we can provide the test suite name. As it is test suite 1, otherwise if you want we can update the name as well, but at present I am keeping test suite 1 only because to understand the structure it will be easy. Okay, here test suite is created and it looks like this. As I said earlier, if I created 20 test cases, 20 test cases I can create under test suite. Using one button I can run all test cases at once. Here is the button, that is the run button. Here you can see runs the selected test cases. Why it is disabled mode? Because just now we have created the test suite. Under test suite there are no test cases. That is the reason we can see it as in disable mode. Now we can expand this. Here we can see test suite name. If you expand test suite, you can see nothing is there. Under test suite we can create the test case. Here you can see, and after test suite it will be test case. So now to create test case, right click on test suite, select new test case. Once I click on new test case pop-up will display. Here we can create the new test case. So as of now I am not changing the name. If we want we can change the test case name based on our requirement. We can provide the test case name here. As of now I am keeping same. Click on OK. It will be open like this. Under test case you can see all are zeros. These all are the test steps 0, properties 0, because there are no properties. That is the reason we are able to see like this. So under test case we need to create the test step. For that one, right click on test case 1. Here we can see add step. Under test case we can create multiple test steps, however how we need. So here you can see SOAP request, second one is REST request, HTTP request, AMF request, JDBC request, property transfer, Groovy script, manual test step. There are many options are available here, but we need to select the best one. We need to select the based on our requirement. So our one is SOAP project, so we should create SOAP request. So once I click on SOAP request, here we can give the test steps. So by default it came SOAP request, but not looks good. I am giving step 1 because in test case this is my step 1. If I click on OK, here there is a pop-up will display new test request with the operations available in my WSDL. So here if you see select operation to involve for request. These all are operations available in my WSDL. So here as I said earlier, converter SOAP is one operation and conversion SOAP is one to version. These two are same operation, but the difference is versions. But when it comes to the here we can see all these. Why all these? Earlier I showed right. Once I will cancel this because to understand I am expanding this. This is the operation. In this operation we have all these I said is methods, but when it comes to the here we can see it as operations because all we can see it in operations. In this currency converter converter SOAP operation I can see all these. So whatever I want to select to run, we can choose the same. Here if I want to run get currencies, I can use this one. If I want to get conversion amount, I want to use this one. So based on our requirement, we can select the method which one we want. So what I will do is right click, add step, SOAP request. So I'm changing this to test step 1. Click on OK button. Here I want to select get conversion amount method. Okay. Here they mention select operation to invoke for request. So please don't confuse either operation or method. Anything you can call, but better you can call with operation. Under converter SOAP operation, I am selecting get conversion amount. Okay. Click on OK. Here we are creating only test step and add SOAP response assertions. Anyway, we need to look into the assertions as well. By default, it will what it will come we can see. Click on OK. So by default, our request looks like this. Here see raw request, domain, password, all these things are came, but no need to look into those. Only simply look into this request as we are new. Here this is my request. This is my test step 1. So under test steps, here you can see under test case, you can see test case test step 1, because here also you can see project navigation area, and in this place also you can see if I add one more test step, add test step and SOAP request, I'm giving test step 2. Here again it is asking for the method which one we need to select. I am selecting get conversion amount. Click on OK. Again have to click on OK. This is add request to test case. We are adding request to the test case, and this is another step. Okay, so another one also created. So this is step 2. So if I click on test steps, here you can see like this. Here you can see test steps, test step 1, test step 2. But whatever the data is available in our request, all is displaying here, but to avoid the confusion, we can see here this is easily understandable because it looks like XML, right? It is XML, so it is easy to understand. So here there is very important one is this is our request. So in our previous session we learned about XML, how it looks like. This is SOAP request. So SOAP request has its own structure, that is starts with the SOAP envelope, after that SOAP header, after that body should contain either request or either response. So once we receive the response, in response section also we can see the same structure. In that SOAP body should contain response. Here SOAP body contain request. In that this all the SOAP body. Under SOAP body we have conversion amount. Under conversion amount we have rate date and amount. After that get conversion amount. Okay. After that body is getting closed and envelope is getting closed. And another one is test step 2. Here also we have the same data. So before running this one, I want to see what are the operations are available. Convert date type column, and because we need to make sure, right, what data we are passing, where to pass the data, we need to know all these things. This is get culture info, and other one is get currencies and get currency rate, and another one get currency rates. There is one more observation maybe you guys observed, that is when I click on each one, there is a no pop-up is new window is displaying, because everything has its own windows, because all are different methods, right? That is the reason whatever request one I clicks, it's open their own windows. Okay, so we need to know where to pass the data. Here you are able to see question marks, right? In this place we need to pass the data. Coming to the make my trip example, there on UI we are giving source as some place and destination as some place, and we are selecting the date and clicking on the submit button. Same thing in this question mark. For example, if this is source, then in question mark I have to give the source place. For example, if it is destination, in this place I have to give the destination name. If this is my date, here I have to give the date. Like this we have to provide the data in question mark places. So now we can look into the requests. So we used only one operation, that is converter. Here I created two test steps under one test case, but these two are same requests. So as we are creating the new project, so I want to recall the project structure once again. First we need to create the workspace. It contains all the project details, and one workspace can contain multiple projects. And under workspace I created one project, that is currency CC. Under project we can create the test suite. I have created one test suite, but I can show you we can create multiple test suites. Again right click on test suite, right click on project name, click on new test suite. Here we can see test suite 2, but we can change the names based on our requirement. Click on OK, new test suite is created. As I said earlier, under one test suite we can create multiple test cases. So to create another test case, new test case 2 is test case 2. So I am not changing name. Click on OK, test case 1, test case 2. Under test suite we can create multiple test cases. So I created multiple test cases here, test case 2 and test case 1. Under test case 1 I created two steps. Here you can see test steps 2. One is test step 1 and another one is test step 2. So and another test case has 0 test steps, because now I will not create anything, but to know the project structure and everything I created another test case. So one more point, that one test case, for example one test case has 5 test steps. So I have to create 5 test steps, and if I want to run 5 test steps at once clicking on test case 1, here we can see the button runs this test case. That means it will run the test steps one by one. First it will execute test step 1, after that it will move to the test step 2, after that it will move to the test step 3, like that. Same, if I want to run the 2 test cases at once, then what I need to do, I have to double click on test suite 1. If I double click on test suite 1, here you can see test suite 1, under this you can see test cases. In this you can see test case 1 and test case 2. Here also again we have the button. If we click on this button, runs the selected test cases. That means it will run the test cases under test suite 1. Again under project, this is my CC project. In that I have 2 test suites. One is test suite 1 and another one is test suite 2. If we want to, for example in test suite 1 I have 2 test cases. In test suite 1 I do not have any test cases, but I can create how many test cases we want. So if I have 5 test cases here, so I want to run all the test cases at once, then again we can click on CC. Here if you expand this, here this is overview of the project summary, file path, interface summary and test summary. Here you can see test suites 1, test cases 2, test steps 2, assertions. We can look into the assertions in coming classes, and mock summary. These all are advanced topics we can see. This is the overview. What WSDL we used, and file path and everything you can see here. Coming to the test suites, here you can see what are these test suites are available under CC project. Here we can see test suite 1 and test suite 2. Here also we can see the button runs the selected test suites. If I click on this button, all the test cases whatever we have on each and every test suite, all test cases will run here. So the main important point here is we can run the test cases. Very important point, we can run the test cases on project level and test suite level and test case level. Test case level we can run the test steps. So this is the project structure. So coming to the test case 1, we need to know how to provide the data. As I said earlier, we have to provide the data when we have the question marks. And another one is test step 2. And I will create one more test case. Here you can see get culture info, add step and SOAP request, and I am giving name as get culture info. I am selecting get culture info. Okay, click done. OK. Here we can see the get culture info. So because here we are not able to see any question mark, but there is only one tag, that is get culture info. See here by default it should have like this. So in XML, every tag should be AND, because here team get culture info. Earlier we were able to see like this. See, that means it is starting and ending. This tag, as it has only one tag, it starts and it ends. This means so, but here if we want to pass the data, we should start tag, it should be between start tag and end tag. So I am deleting this. Here we can give the data. For example, get culture info is there. For example, I am giving $1. This is currency converter. US dollar I have given USD. Okay. So here I want to run the request. There is a button submit request to specified endpoint URL. So to run our request, we need to select on this button. This is nothing but submit request. But while running the request, we need to know this request is going to where. So what is the architecture of web service? When we send the request, it should go to the server and we should receive the response. Here I will draw a simple request. It should go to the server, and after once we send the request to the server, it will send the response. So where is the server? So once we sending the request to the server, we should provide the server endpoint, that is nothing but system's IP. So here, as we are using free visuals, so by default they has given this is the server, like that we can assume this is the endpoint. We are sending this request to this server converter.asmx. But in real time, the developer will provide the endpoint, because developer is the person who knows where that application code is in which server. So developer is the right person who will provide WSDL and who will provide the endpoints. If I want to add the endpoint, we have to click on add new endpoint like this. Here we have to provide the endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but the server where the application is stored. In real time, what will happen? There will be different environments like dev environment or S8 environment and UAT environment and pre-prod environment and prod. There will be different endpoints. So as a tester, he may be testing many environments. For example, some people will test in UAT and pre-prod, but some people will test in dev, seed, UAT, pre-prod and prod, all the environments. So for all the environments, code will be stored in different servers based on the environment. So whatever URL developer provides, we have to provide the environment URL here, and we have to click on OK button. But for time being, we are using this endpoint is the free one. So to run this request, I am clicking on the submit button, and it is sending the request to the server and received the response. Here the response we received, no response is received because these all are free WSDLs. I will get the new WSDL and I will show you the responses again. But present in this session we discussed, I will recall the topics what we have discussed in this session. So first we started with SOAP-AI download, and after that SOAP-AI installation. Once SOAP-AI installation is done, we have opened the SOAP-AI tool and we looked into the SOAP-AI user interface. After SOAP-AI user interface is discussed, we spoke about SOAP-AI project architecture, which is workspace, project, test suite, test cases, test steps, and we looked into the WSDL also. This is the free WSDL. So we are able to create the test cases and we are able to create the test steps as well. As it is failing, we can move into the test step 2. Here we have get culture info, and coming to the test step 1, here we can see the get conversion amount. But there is one more option we have, like here we can see this is get convert date table column, and another one we have get conversion amount, we have get conversion rate, and another one get culture info. If I want to use this request, I can copy here like this, and coming to the test case, whatever test case you want to add here, we can add, copy and paste. So here, because the endpoint will be same, the namespaces and everything will looks good, so we can use it in any test step. For example, here team currency, again I'm sending USD, that is one currency. So I'm sending the data, I'm sending USD as my currency data, and I'm sending this request to the server, and again it is hitting to the converter, and I got the result as 0. That means it's not sending any data, because we cannot believe these freeware WSDLs, but sometimes it will work differently. But for example, we are able to see the response, because we need to know the structure of the XML SOAP request and responses, because it is very important. Whatever WSDL we use, we need to understand how it looks like. Again, I'm repeating SOAP structure, how it looks like. It has envelope, header, body, and again it has to end with each and everything. Like under body we have get culture info, and after that body is ending and envelope is ending. Coming to the response, you are able to see the same envelope. Under envelope we have body, because we received whatever response we have here, the entire information we received from the server. This is SOAP envelope. Under SOAP envelope we have a body, under envelope we have get conversion amount response. This is the response we received from the server. get conversion amount result equal to 0. Under that we have response, and again body tag is closing and envelope tag is closing. So this is the proper structure of the SOAP message response. So here at bottom we can see assertions, and assertions 1, SOAP response valid. When we create the project, if you remember, when we create the project there is a checkbox that SOAP response, check SOAP response is valid or not. That means whatever response we received here, that should be valid structure. That is the reason by default we will get this assertion, and by default it will not pass. But when the structure is same, because it matches with the SOAP message structure, then only it will pass, otherwise it will fail here as well. This is the another important one. Another important one is logs. So where can we see the logs? Here, SOAP logs. Here you can see what is going each and every time. So the transaction between client and server, everything we can see in this area. It went to the server, and this is HTTP response whatever we received, and this is the HTTP status codes. We can see all these things in coming session, because here now we discussed about how to create the project and everything, how to send the data into the request. Basics we have seen. In coming session we can see different types of assertions and create multiple requests, run multiple requests based on the requirements. We can use currency converter and get whether one more WSDL, a free WSDL is available in Google. We can search with that WSDL, and we can use whether WSDL and create multiple test cases and get the valid response, not like one tag in the response. Get the response in that based on the whatever response we received, based on the response we have to validate. To validate the response we will use the assertions. Assertions are nothing but the checkpoints to validate the response. So we can look into the remaining topics in next session. Thank you all.